What's the matter with this thing? It's not heating up.
You got a problem?
Yeah, this hot plate's broken again. Just when I wanted a grilled cheese sandwich.
Don't you worry. I got something that'll solve that problem.
Now, that doesn't look like a grilled cheese sandwich to me.
What's this, a flying saucer?
I'm making the stove of tomorrow.
Looks more like yesterday's trash to me.
All I wanted was a grilled cheese sandwich. Today...
3, 2, 1. Contact is the secret. It's the moment when everything happens. Contact is the answer. It's the reason why everything happens. Contact. Let's make contact. 3, 2, 1. Contact.
Today we're talking about food and fuel. Dinner will be served as soon as the sun comes out.
Where does the electric cord go?
It doesn't have any. This stove gets its juice from the source.
What source?
The one that keeps us going. And the same one that keeps them going.
Every tree must find its place in the sun. Without sunlight, neither a tree nor any green plant could grow. When sunlight meets the leaves of a plant, it excites something green called chlorophyll. When this chlorophyll combines with the water in the plant's leaves, amazing things happen. First, the plant takes in an invisible gas called carbon dioxide from the air, and then it combines part of the water and the carbon dioxide to make sugar. Then the plant lets out another gas, oxygen, into the air. All animals depend upon plants for food and oxygen, and plants use the carbon dioxide given off by animals. So, animals and plants both depend on the sun. Every day the plant takes in sunlight and water and carbon dioxide to make sugar, which gives it the energy it needs to grow from a small plant to a big plant.
Hi, I'm Mark.
I'm Gene Baker, and welcome to Baker's Acres. I'd like to have you meet my son, Dennis.
Hi, Mark.
And my son, Robert.
How do you do?
Good, good. What's Baker's Acres?
Baker's Acres, well, that's our family farm corporation, and we grow corn and soybeans, and we also raise swine.
How old are they? They're 24 hours old. The sow moved into the stall 2 days ago. She had her pigs yesterday. They're a little uncoordinated yet, stagger around and aren't sure of their footing.
Right.
But they still have the ability to get up there and get some mama's milk.
So they can see pretty good when they...
Oh, yes, yes. It seems like they hit the ground hungry, and first instinct is to get around and get some of that milk.
Yeah.
You may not have known this, but pigs establish a pecking order starting almost at birth.
What does that mean?
Well, that means that the biggest, strongest pig will try to nurse off the forward portion of the sow's udder because that portion gives more milk. As we move down the udder, often the very smallest pig ends up at the rear portion of the udder.
They're beautiful.
Well, a little ornery. They aren't aggressive. They can nip you. They have very sharp teeth. And this is a little gilt.
That doesn't hurt?
No, this is how we hold little pigs.
Really?
That's how you carry pigs from place to place. Unfortunately, you can only do it till they get so big, and size is a factor. But we do mark the little pigs as future females to go back into the herd.
Now, these pigs right here are just a little bit older than the ones we saw in the last pen, right?
Yeah, they're a couple of months older. These will weigh about 200 pounds right now. And they're just about ready to be on somebody's table here in the future.
Now, how do you get a pig that's real good for slaughter? What do you have to do that? You have to give it good feed?
Well, good feed, and part of that's in the breeding as well. And as far as feed is concerned, why we grind up corn, soybean meal, and put all the vitamins and minerals and everything else that they need to grow.
Is this real corn in here?
You bet. Iowa-grown corn fed to Iowa pigs. They're very inquisitive. They like to chew on you.
Now, these will go to the slaughterhouse, and they'll be cut up into different sections.
You bet.
Pork chops, pig feet,
ham,
bacon.
You bet. In fact, we've got some chops on the grill.
Do you really?
You bet.
Oh, I'm hungry. Let's go. Let's go.
Okay.
I'll hold it for you, Mark.
You know, this looks something like those sun reflectors that people used to get a tan.
That's exactly right. They're cooking themselves.
Ooh, it's bad for your skin.
Yeah, but great for burgers.
Yeah, well, we're not going to get to cook much on this contraption. There are just too many steps in putting it together.
You know, it takes processing to change raw energy into a form we can use. I mean, as fuel you have...
Or as food. It takes a lot of work to turn milk into butter and cheese, and wheat into bread.
Yep.
Today we're going to make bread. 7,000 loaves of it. We're in a bread factory in Connecticut where they use machinery to make bread. And while the machines make bread here, I'm going to make a homemade loaf by myself. Kind of like a mixing bowl then.
Yes, Lisa, this is one of our mixing bowls. The ingredients have now been thrown into this machine here, which in turn will be coming out very shortly in the form of a dough.
So you mean when we're at home and we make bread, we have to mix it all by hand. But this
Right.
machine does the very same thing?
Right, this machine here holds 1,374 pounds of bread.
Well, I wouldn't have to mix that. I'm with Maudine Nelson now, who's a nutritionist. Maudine, what does a nutritionist do?
A nutritionist studies about what's in food and how it's used by the body. So we're able to tell you what good foods there are and what bad foods there are. I'll tell you a good food, bread.
You mean bread is good for you? I thought bread was fattening.
Oh, bread is very nutritious. It's a very whole food. It's been keeping people alive for thousands of years. And the reason why it's good is because of the wheat that the flour in the bread is made from. I'm sure you've seen wheat before, pictures of it. And you've seen it in the fields blowing back and forth. Well, each stalk of wheat has little kernels in it. Each little kernel can be divided into three basic parts. The starch, which is in the center, the bran, which is on the outside, and the germ, which is at the bottom of it. And the germ is sort of like the yolk of the wheat, the way you know.
Like
the
in
yolk.
an egg.
Right. So when you make flour, you generally have ground the whole thing up, and you come out with what we call whole wheat flour, which is very nutritious because it has all the complete wheat there.
So you mean those guys downstairs are making thousands of loaves of bread and they're using the same ingredients as we have here?
The very same ingredients. Of course, a lot more of it.
I would really like to make one loaf, but I've never made it before at home, and I don't know exactly how to go about doing it.
It's very simple. You'd be surprised. In fact, everything that goes into bread are really household ingredients that you probably have on hand all the time. First, we take milk, 1/2 cup of scalded milk.
What do you mean by scalded milk?
That means that you heat it just below boiling. Okay. And to that milk, you add 1 tablespoon of sugar.
Okay.
Okay. Here's a tablespoon.
Here's the sugar.
Now, the sugar, what that's doing is helping to feed the yeast when it starts to rise. Now, you're going to add 4 teaspoons of butter.
4 teaspoons. Just scoop it in like this?
Scoop it in, take a spatula and scoop it out.
2. Can we use our fingers?
Sure. That's what cooking's all about.
Let's really get into this bread.
All right. Next, you're going to add the yeast. First, you pour the yeast into the bowl.
Okay. This is what's going to help it rise.
Right. Then you pour in 1/2 cup of warm water, and you stir until it dissolves. Okay. You can pour that now in with the milk and butter mixture. Well, stir that up a bit so it's all mixed as well. And now you're going to start adding your flour.
Okay.
You don't want to pour it through here. This is to sift it, and that incorporates air.
And what's so good about having air in it?
Well, when the bread is baking and it starts to heat, the air expands, and it gives the texture of the bread more of a lightness. Now, once it's all thick, you'll start to knead it. Okay, now you take it out of the bowl. Dust your hands with the flour so that the dough doesn't stick to your hand. And what you're doing is you're rolling the bread. Push it this way, bring it back. With the heel of your hand, push it and bring it back, then push it and bring it back. And this is a nice stiff dough because it's whole wheat.
Why do you have to push it and then bring it back like that? Couldn't you do it just any old way?
No, actually, what you're trying to do is form gluten, and that's one of the proteins in the flour.
So now we shape it into a loaf?
Okay, what you want to do to make it into a loaf is to flatten it out. Flatten it out. We'll cover it with a damp towel. We'll let it sit for about 45 minutes or until it rises until it's about double in size.
And then what?
And then we bring it back to the board, punch it down, knead it just a bit, shape it into a loaf, put it in the loaf pan.
Just pick it up and plop it in?
Mm-hmm. Now make the seam go on the bottom.
The seam goes on the bottom.
Right.
This is it? It got so much bigger.
That's right, double in size. Now we bake it at 400 degrees.
How long is this going to take to bake?
About 50 minutes.
I think I can hold out that long.
It's worth it.
Ooh, it looks good.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
It really is. I'm proud.
First loaf of homemade bread.
You know, it's not going to be my last one. In the time it took for us to make this one loaf of homemade bread, these guys made 7,000 loaves. But that's okay, because they didn't have as much fun as we had. And they don't get to eat what they made. And I do.
Let's see. I think that's just about it. Okay, now, is that pointed right at the sun?
Yeah, I think so.
Fantastic.
Right.
Okay, it's ready.
Wow, that's really something. It works quick. It's already getting warm.
Instant heat is what you get.
Instant food is what I want.
All right, look at that.
Whoa.
More power to burn.
All right. Do it. Yeah.
These are the wheels of the fast red bike that won the race last Saturday night. They were pushed on the way by the sprocket chain by pushing the pedals again and again. Now these are the legs that push the pedals, that move the chain that spun the wheels of the fast red bike that spun through the park last Saturday night. Now these are the teeth of Eunice O'Reilly. They chewed the lunch that got in her tummy and into her blood. And through the muscle that pumped the pedals, that pushed the chain, that spun the wheels of the fast red bike that came in first last Saturday night. Now take a look at the star, the sun. It warmed the ground a while ago. It sprouted the seed that grew the corn, that fed the cows, that made the milk, that made the cheese, that made the lunch that got chewed by the teeth, and was sent to the tummy and into the blood, and it went through the muscle that lifted the leg to move the foot that pushed the pedals, that moved the chain, that turned the wheels, the fast red bike that came in first last Saturday night.
It's almost ready, Trini. Not quite.
2 down, 1 to go.
You know, we just might have to go back to using our muscle power to turn our wheels when the oil runs out.
Is a bicycle built for 2 twice as efficient?
No, because it takes twice as many hamburgers to keep the bicyclers pedaling.
What we need is a way to move more people with less fuel.
Are you sure you want to go through with this race? Do you really think that school bus is more efficient than this little car? Mr. Atkins, our bus driver, says we can get 6 miles per gallon if 2 of the miles are going downhill. My uncle says this car gets a lot more miles on a gallon. You'll see which is more efficient. There are 60 kids. You take 30 of them to school? They're over there. My 30 are on the bus. It looks like the whole 5th grade. We'll have to make a lot of trips, but that's okay. The school is exactly 5 miles from here. Did you buy gas? A gallon plus a little more to get us here. So now we each have a gallon of gas. We'll even give you a head start. There's something fishy going on here. Tell me when you're ready. We're ready. Let's start the race. On your mark. Get set. Go!
Don't know, but they're on the road by now.
I'm going on this trip. How many kids did you bring? 30, just one bus trip. How about you? Only 15 before we ran out of gas. I was tricked. So you admit it. The school bus is more efficient than the economy car for carrying lots of students. The bus made one 5-mile trip with 30 kids on a gallon of gas, and we still have gas to spare. We made 3.5 round trips at 5 miles each way. That's 35 miles. But we only took 15 kids. So the school bus is twice efficient for hauling kids. We carried 30 kids per gallon, while you only carried 15 kids per gallon. I guess being big can help sometimes when it comes to efficiency.
Solar power, huh?
Yeah, why not? It supports our life on Earth, and besides, it's free.
The equipment's expensive, though, at least right now.
It'll get cheaper when more people start using solar power.
Yeah, but you can't use it to run cars or buses.
But there are lots of things you can use it for, and besides, it's not about to run out.
At least not for a few billion years.
Right.
Whenever there's trouble, we're there on the double. We're the Bloodhound Gang. If you've got the crime, we've got the time. We're the Bloodhound Gang.
Hi, Ricardo. Grab a card, beautiful.
I'm jogging.
Come on, Vicky, it's a new trick. Grab a card. Now, watch the great Ricardo. 6 of diamonds, right?
Wrong.
Jack of clubs, right?
Wrong.
Bloodhound Detective Agency. Whenever there's trouble, we're there on the double. Mr. Bloodhound isn't here. Yes. Yes.
8 of clubs.
Right.
Yeah, I knew I'd get it.
Wrong. We've got to sit in on the reading of old Mr. Fowler's will.
The Birdman?
Yeah, but his will smells fishy.
3 of hearts.
Cuff, what on earth are you doing?
Following you. I'm practicing shadowing criminals.
Thanks a lot. Come on, kid, we're on a case. Bloodhound Detective Agency. Yes, I called. I'm Amantha Fowler. Come in. There's a new lawyer handling matters, and I don't trust him. He's due at any moment. I have a copy of the old will, but the lawyer says my uncle changed it. Something about passenger pigeons. What's a passenger pigeon? I'm sure I don't know.
Look, here's one.
American passenger pigeon, 1914. Gone, but not forgotten.
All present?
I believe I'm the only heir, Mr. Pettifox.
We'll see. We'll see. Museum hours are over, children.
They're friends of mine.
Then, shall we all be seated?
What do you think? A crook?
Him? He steal the paint off your house.
If you two will stop jabbering, I'll start the reading of the will.
Yes, do.
I, Aurelius Fowler, being of sound mind and judgment, revoke all earlier wills and codicils and declare this to be my last will and testament. First, to my niece and only living relative, Amantha Fowler, of London, England, who does not share my scholarly interest in bird life, I leave the sum of $1. Second, I give, leave, and bequeath the remainder of my estate to the Committee for the Care and Preservation of the American Passenger Pigeon.
Cuff. Quick. Slip out and call the Audubon Society.
What's that?
They know all about birds. Find out if that committee is on the up and up.
Private quarters provided for the staff. Finally, I appoint as the chairman of the committee and the executor of this will my dear friend, attorney, and a fellow expert on birds, Hiram G. Pettifog. That's me.
Hello? Is this the Audubon Society? Well, this is Bloodhound Detective Agency.
and I need some information on the Committee for the Care and Preservation for the American Passenger Pigeon. Yeah, it's important.
I authorize my executor to sell, with or without notice, at either public or private sale, any property belonging
No
to my
such committee. They said there might have been before 1914.
1914? Good work, Cuff.
signed and sealed, etc., and so forth and so on.
I question the signature on that document. I should like to have it examined by a handwriting expert.
A handwriting expert? Naturally, my dear Ms. Fowler.
That won't be necessary. The will is a fake.
Why, I'll stake my reputation on it.
What reputation? You don't know beans about birds, and that's exactly how you tripped yourself up. The clue was in the will and on that bird. The will cuts Miss Samantha Fowler of London, England, out of her uncle's estate, right? Because she doesn't know much about birds. American birds, anyway.
Precisely.
The will also states that you are a bird expert.
Exactly.
Kindly read paragraph 2 again, Mr. Pettiford. The part about bequeath.
I have no time for this nonsense.
Read it, Mr. Pettiford.
I give, leave, and bequeath the remainder of my estate to the Committee for the Care and Preservation of the American Passenger Pigeon.
Mr. Fowler was a famous birdman. He would never have agreed to that paragraph. You forged the will.
How dare you make such a charge?
Because Mr. Fowler knew, positively knew all about the passenger pigeon. That's why he put gone but not forgotten on that bird. There used to be billions of those pigeons, thick as buffaloes, until they got wiped out. Care to read what this book has to say? Not one bird left alive. They've been extinct since 1914.
Super! He's getting away.
Don't worry, he won't get far. I've taken pictures of him, his car, and his license. The police will pick him up.
We can file them under jailbird. Another case closed. Chalk another one up for the Bloodhound Gang.
Yeah. Hey, what was that car you chose?
King of Diamonds.
Now watch the Great Ricardo. Presto.
File that under amazing.
321 Contact is a production of the Children's Television Workshop.